Introduce our speaker for today.
Yes, Reegan Hanigan is with the Jefferson Matters, and many of you folks probably already know a lot of the answers here, but some of us are not necessarily in the loop of economic development. So members asked me, said, let's schedule something on economic development and what is happening around the square and in our business community, and what's the health of our businesses. That was a particular concern, as well as what are some of the things we're looking to the future. So I pass it over to Reegan for introduction or for a overview of what's happening here in our community. So.
Thanks, Craig, and thank you all for having me today. I'm happy to be here and happy to present about the organization and give a little bit of an update. I'm Reegan Hanigan, for those of you who I've met and haven't met yet. I just want to kind of cover three main topics. The first being how businesses are doing through the COVID-19 crisis, what business gaps the organization is focusing on filling and recruiting, and then just an update on the organization, upcoming projects, and volunteerism. I think most of you know that Jefferson Matters Main Street and Jefferson Area Chamber of Commerce were before two separate entities that have now merged into one. So just providing an update on that merger as well. So feel free to ask me any questions along the way, and I'll leave time for questions at the end, and hope I can provide some answers that you have questions to. Let's get started. It's no surprise that 2020 has been a difficult year for everyone, including for local businesses. As you all have witnessed within the community, businesses were forced to adapt to the new normal very quickly. With that, new creativity, partnerships, and ideas have developed or developed further. Retailers are doing amazing things, and their creativity and adaptability have been quite impressive. Retail Revamp, which is a sub-team of Jefferson Matters promotion team, is filled with retailers brainstorming ways to be innovative. They are working together to plan monthly promotions, events, advertising, and more. Businesses have been creating social media pages and going live on Facebook as a way to reach and interact with customers. Some of this has been, businesses have been used to doing this, and then other businesses, this is new. So it's good to see everyone jumping on board. The services these Jefferson businesses have provided to meet the needs of their customers has been quite admirable. The organization of Jefferson Matters, a Main Street and Chamber community, is always looking for ways to promote businesses, especially through social media during this time. The organization has also helped do radio ads, television ads. If you were watching the last Iowa State game, I was told that the ad was on quite a bit during that game. So that was the organization that helped make that happen. And of course, you can't forget those Jeff from Jefferson videos either. I know you've all probably seen those. Jeff Lamore does a great job helping out with that. Jefferson Matters Main Street and Chamber community also tries to promote as many educational opportunities for businesses as possible through social media or through a weekly email newsletter. These educational opportunities could be about social media, QuickBooks, and many other topics. Just if there's an interest in it, as long as our organization knows, we'll try and get the information or a resource out there to help. Usually these are free resources that business can take advantage of and learn more about their topic of interest. Along with these efforts, 3 different mini grants are available. And it's been especially great this year with COVID as businesses have faced more challenges. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about the 3 mini grants. The first mini grant is the Building Facade Mini Grant up to $500. The purpose of this grant program is to assist building owners to improve the historic appearance of their buildings. So this facade mini grant could be used towards a new door, replacing windows, something that would help improve the facade of the building. Definitely has been taken advantage of in 2020, and we look forward to offering that again in 2021. The second mini grant is a storefront signage mini grant, matching up to $500 as well. This one's a little bit self-explanatory. The purpose of this grant program is to assist building and business owners in Jefferson financially with new signage. As we all know, when we were driving down the street, a nice looking sign or facade really makes an impact. So any way we can help with that, I think makes a big difference. And that's also been taken advantage of, which has been very good. Look forward to also offering that in 2021. And then last, and maybe personally, the most interesting mini grant is the existing business growth mini grant, matching up to $500. And the purpose of this grant program is to assist building owners in Jefferson financially to diversify and grow product lines based on data and demand of product. So it just helps assume some of the risk. If a photography business was interested in getting into videography that they weren't currently doing before, as you know, there's a risk associated with that. So, this helps absorb some of the risk. And I think it's especially timely with COVID as well, to try new things and maybe try something else that may work best during this time. So we've had a lot of businesses take advantage of all three of these mini grants, and look forward to offering them again in 2021. For more information, or if you ever know of someone who would like to take advantage of these, the information is at jeffersonmatters.org or through the Welcome Center. Or of course, contact me or anyone through the organization. We'd be happy to help. As for what business gaps the organization is focusing on filling and recruiting, we did a recent survey in 2020. I want to think it was in the fall, but I could always double check the date. And the response we received was full service restaurants offering a sit down dining experience to expand or add to options already available in the Jefferson area. This was at the top of the request. This could be a restaurant offering a casual family oriented atmosphere or a more upscale setting. Menu selections might include local favorites or ethnic specialties. It's fitting to know that Angie's Tea Garden and the Brew Pub are both very fitting projects underway that will greatly fill the needs of residents and visitors who participate in this survey, as well as complement the rest of the community. So with those results, we think those two projects are extremely fitting from the results that we received. And last, I just wanted to provide an update of the organization, upcoming projects, and then also just opportunities for volunteerism. As I mentioned earlier, Jefferson Matters, Main Street, and Jefferson Area Chamber of Commerce were two separate entities, both with similar missions and visions, I could say, but more so in different areas. Jefferson Matters Main Street had a focus on the Main Street district, and then the chamber was beyond that. So I think coming together was a good idea to combine efforts. And with that being said, the two boards and two organizations have been meeting together since July and have officially legally merged as of 1/1/21. So it's very beneficial, I think, that the two organizations were working together and meeting together for almost half a year before the legal merge took place. It kind of gave everyone time to get their thinking aligned and goals aligned. And there was a strategic planning meeting back in this fall. And with that meeting, a new vision and purpose statement were developed for the organization. So the vision statement is now to make Jefferson a destination to shop, eat, play, and stay. And the purpose is to support, promote, and preserve the historic downtown of Jefferson, Iowa, while contributing to the greater community's continued vitality. With that, both Jefferson Matters Main Street and Jefferson Area Chamber of Commerce had teams or committees before, and part of that strategic planning was taking the teams from both and the resources from both and the amazing volunteers that made up both Jefferson Matters Main Street and Jefferson Area Chamber of Commerce, and finding a way to merge them and put them together kind of for the greater good of the community and the new organization. So I just wanted to briefly go through those new teams that have came about from the merge. The first is a design team, and their purpose is to strengthen the physical appearance of our community. So we call this team the team that beautifies the downtown. So the hanging baskets, pillar planters, cluster planters, they're kind of the behind the scenes to make that happen. They also help with the Christmas decorations. Also, two of the mini grants, the facade mini grant and the signage mini grant, also come from that design team. So they help facilitate those as well. One of the new projects they have planned for 2021 are to add trash receptacles to downtown. So anything you can think of appearance wise to the community, the design team is a good one to think of there. Economic Vitality and Ambassadors team. Their purpose is to strengthen and broaden the economic base of our community. And those are kind of one and two teams at the same time. They function a lot the same, and they also function separately at the same time. So what they do is they support SBDC and Iowa Central Community College business workshops offered in Jefferson. They have business incentive brochures. So if a prospective business is coming into town, we can offer resources and information and other incentives. They head up the existing business growth mini grant, the third mini grant I was mentioning earlier, and then support and organize community development and special events. So I think you could all recognize the ambassadors in their green blazers, and they said they're getting revamped this year. So they'll have a new look. They'll have kind of a sweater vest on with the city logo on them, and we have a lot of new people added to the ambassadors team. They're always looking to add more. If you have an interest in being an ambassador, we'd love to have you. So that's mostly ribbon cuttings, any sort of celebration or anniversary, anytime we can celebrate new and existing businesses, we'd love to. Next team we have is promotion and tourism team. They were originally kind of two separate teams before. Promotion was more Jefferson Matters Main Street, and tourism was more the chamber. So together they've merged to promote businesses, tourism, events in Jefferson, Iowa through marketing efforts using print, radio, and on social media to drive people to downtown and into our community. So they have frequent Facebook posts and boosts for local businesses. There's a Jefferson, Iowa app if you don't have it on your phone, updated with all the Jefferson businesses. They also advertise on television, as that commercial I mentioned to you, radio, newspaper, magazines, social media. And then kind of a newer project that team has been working on has been welcome bags for newcomers. And what that is someone who moves to Jefferson, whether they're setting up the utilities or they come in the welcome center. A lot of businesses have been very generous in helping fill those bags with some really neat items. So far we've given away 9 already from people moving to Jefferson, and one has been at the Welcome Center, and a lot have been given away at the City Hall as well too. So we're excited to see people moving to Jefferson, and excited to give those away, and glad we have a little bit of a problem with keeping those stocked. That's a good thing. So we'll be working on restocking those as well. The next team is Retail Revamped, and as you can tell from the name, they're promote local retail businesses with monthly and seasonal promotional campaigns and events. They are all kind of a sub-team of promotions. They work together with that team, but also function on their own. So their focus is seasonal sales and advertising. This year in 2021, I know they hope to have events like the Fall Hometown Harvest, holiday open houses and shop small promotions. And then I know last Christmas they had planned a horse-drawn carriage rides and different holiday events like that. So hoping to do that in 2021. The organizational team is kind of a team that I would say is more behind the scenes that maybe the community doesn't always know about, but is a super important aspect of our organization and the way we're able to efficiently work. And their purpose is to establish a strong organization that utilizes a growing number of participants in the implementation and funding of the program. So our donation drive is going on right now, so they take a big lead on helping with that and making that happen. They organize volunteer appreciation. They help recruit volunteers. They plan their reunion rendezvous at Bell Tower Festival, Family Feud, I think some of you are aware of, and then the Greene County High School graduation cards in May. So they're more of a behind the scenes team, but a very essential team. Two more teams to run through, and then I'll open up for questions. The Tower View team is a team that maybe not a lot of communities have. Their mission is to bring art to surprising places. So if you've been up to the Bell Tower, you've seen the rooftop art that we have. And we'd love to have more of that in 2021. It's extremely unique and definitely a neat conversation when you're going up with someone maybe from out of town or not around the community, and have them witness that is pretty neat. Some other things they have planned for 21 are Ring Out for Art sculptures. They plan to have an Art on the Square event with booths, music, and food during Bell Tower, hopefully, if that happens. And then, of course, if you notice the alleys in Jefferson too, they're not your typical alleys. They're kind of a neat space if you go and have a cup of coffee or go for a walk or just take a stroll. And I think you notice those are pretty neat. So they want to work on the West Alley renovation for 21. And then the last team is the events team. So they plan to execute events that encourage visitation to the Jefferson community by providing unique experiences. We know this team is definitely dependent upon COVID, and I hope we can have events in 21. Some of the events that they do have planned in hopes of COVID is the golf outing, cruise into the square car show, Winter Festival, and then plenty of more exciting events for 21. So those are kind of the main teams, and I kind of refer to them as the wheels of the organization that really make the organization go. And we're always happy to have new volunteers, new ambassadors. We always say if you have an interest or a passion or a hobby, there's more than likely a fit for you in this organization, because it is pretty diverse, and there's a lot of great teams and great people, and you'll be helping great businesses as well. So always want to offer that too if you're interested in volunteering. And that was kind of what I had planned, and I wanted to open up and make sure there's time for any questions or anything I can expand on further.
Reegan, an update on Angie's Tea Garden and an update on the Hy-Vee building on the corner.
I was just meeting with Peg Rainey before this meeting, and they're in works. I didn't get the meeting was about something else, so I didn't get a latest on that building. But I know there's a lot of work that's been done to it lately, and I can definitely reach out to Peg and get the latest on that and provide that back to the team. And for the Hy-Vee building, I was in contact with the realtor probably about a month ago, and I know they had someone very interested in that building for the last couple of months, but at that point it has not been sold. The assessor's page would say if it's been sold or not, which maybe it has been since the last time I spoke with the realtor, but the last time I spoke with him, it hasn't been sold. He didn't want to disclose to me what business was interested in it. Unfortunately, I tried to get it out of him, but I couldn't. Hopefully it's something very exciting and that complements the community.
Okay, thanks.
I have a question. On the events committee team, you didn't mention the Bell Tower Festival. Is that still part of what used to be the chamber, or is that totally cut loose?
So the Bell Tower Festival kind of operates on their own from my understanding. I've been with the organization since July, and I know Bell Tower is typically in June. I think there's a lot of members from the teams that are both on the Bell Tower Foundation and then along with the events team too. So I think they'll work very well together to make that happen, but I do know it is separate.
All right, I'll ask another question unless somebody else jumps in. The survey that you said was done a few months ago, how is that promoted? I didn't see anything about a survey. How did you get respondents to it?
That was on social media, and then we blasted it out in our newsletter. I know, and I can't remember how long it was on there. It was a few weeks or maybe even a month that it was out there, and we were blasting it out on the e-blast and on social media were our two platforms. It may have been linked on our website as well, but I can't confirm that. I'd have to double check the website.
It wasn't put out there at all in the real media for us older people that still use real media?
Next time we have one, we'll definitely send it your way so you have that information. Sorry
Well,
about that.
And to all the media, I mean,
Right.
we saw last week the difference between social media and news media, and there still is plenty of room in the world for honest to God news media. That's my plug.
No, absolutely. Totally agree.
This is Chris Henning. I have a question. Do you have, or are the list of the board members, is it anywhere? And did you get a larger board so that you could represent both sides? And the other question beyond the board is membership. And when I was involved with Jefferson Matters, it was clear that we couldn't have members in Jefferson Matters. And that was the biggest difference between Jefferson Matters and Chambers. So how did the new group address membership?
Sure, that's a really good question, by the way. The new board it should be posted and updated on our website. Luckily, from when I started in July, and then from the actual legal merge, the board members, I think, have pretty much stayed the same. There may have been a few chamber board members that left before I started, but as from the point that when I was starting in July to when the merge actually happened, all the board members have stayed, which is great representation from both sides and really essential to developing the organization and mostly getting representation from both sides. As for the chamber, donations versus memberships, that's a great question. With the new organization, it's a 501c3. So with that, there can't be memberships anymore. Everything is considered a donation. In our donation drive letter that we sent out, there was a little bit of information explaining that, but in short, everything is a donation at this point. There's no memberships anymore. Does that answer your question, Chris?
So following up on Chris's question and your response there, there used to be different levels on membership, you know, the more employees and so forth. So when you did your drive, did you also factor that in, or how is that proposed to the largest businesses versus the smallest? And how's all that work?
Right. So everyone is considered a donor, or we call them contributors too, because they are contributing to the fact as they're volunteers and a huge essential piece to this. What we stated when we did the donation ask is we explained the change in no longer being memberships and donations. And we also stated what their previous donation or membership was, or if they donated to both organizations. We gave the combined amount and explaining, you know, we hope that you're able to donate the same amount again. Now with the combined organization, I think a lot of people might think that our budget should be cut, or there's a lesser need, but really there's a greater need now with more teams and more people involved, and of course, more things that we want to do. So that's the way we've been doing it. We've just been stating what they've donated previously, and asked for them to match their donation, or what their membership was previously, either or.
Also, to follow up on the board of directors, is that was a question that I had too, so I'm glad that was brought up. I'm on your Jefferson Matters Main Street website. Maybe I'm not on the right one, but I don't see where the board of directors are located. So can you help us through that?
Sure, let me pull that up. I'm looking and I wonder if it's being edited right now, because I know we just took some pictures of new board members. It is under About, and then Jefferson Matters, a Main Street and Chamber Community Board of Directors.
Oh, I see. I see. Got it. Got it. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Problem. Thanks for the question.
Back to the health of our businesses and so forth. Is there anything that any thrusts or anything that needs to be done in regard to some of the businesses that have been more affected because of COVID? Are there any more efforts underway to help those businesses, and what would those be? You know, what's some of the thoughts that the board of directors have been kicking around?
And one is that it was a meeting with our economic vitality team chair right before this meeting was planning for in-person visits through those different businesses, and with our economic vitality team, even if we can go in a couple of groups to go around to different businesses and get their insight of how things are going, you know, see how we can be of assistance, and really just having that face-to-face conversation with them that I know we've all been missing during COVID, and see how we can be of service to them. And I know everyone's needs are different, but main thing is just having that communication and understanding how we can help, or even if our organization for some reason can't help, finding the resources and people who can.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Anyone? All right. Well, thank you, Reegan. I guess that's ends our questions. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
you.
So,
John,
hopefully